So instead of waking up and being like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to train clients. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. It's more about, oh my God, I woke up today. Thank you, God.
Yes.
And then I cannot wait to have my coffee. I cannot wait to journal and see what I come up with. I can't wait to plan my day. That before you even get off of your pillow, your mind should already be thinking about positive things that you like get to do today. You get to experience life, and you get to make it however you want it. So that right there is a huge game changer for how you have an outlook on your life and how you're going to treat people that day and treat yourself that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bobbbaaaay. Each week with our guest episodes, I try to put the spotlight on someone who, in my eyes, has given themselves permission to live a life authentic to them. Our guest today is from Quincy, Illinois. She's modeled for brands such as Dick's Sporting Goods, Adidas, New Balance, Hurley Women, and more. She's a female specialized trainer at Next Level Fitness in Nashville, Tennessee. She's also the host of Strive with Dallas podcast, a show focused on real stories, struggle, fitness tips, and conversations on every topic related to fitness and overall well-being. Today on the podcast, Dallas Stevens, baby.
Here I am.
How we doing?
It's going good. Life is good, Bobby.
Last time I saw you were in LA. Now you're thriving over in Nashville. How's that transition?
Oh my gosh,
been?
It's been great. I feel so much more like myself here, and loved LA, and it did wonders for where I should be now. But this is where I'm kind of planting my roots now, and I'll be here long term.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I literally think the last time I saw you had just signed like a new apartment in West Hollywood. And then I feel like it was just like a quick, like 6 months later, you're out, you're gone. And it kind of just opened my mind. I was like, you really never know the flow. Like I always tell people, like, I think I'm going to be in LA for a good period of time, but there's also things that kind of pop up that you never probably predicted happening. And now you're living in Nashville, and it's just like, you just trust the flow.
Well, that's what was beautiful about the pandemic was everyone realized when the world stopped what was actually around them and what they were actually doing with their life, their real life, not their busy life, their work life. Like when you took that away, I feel like everyone looked around and was like, am I actually happy here? Like you take away the superficial stuff, the parties, and you realize what's important, which is family, living in a place that feels like home. And so that's what I kind of realized was I don't feel like home here. Like it feels like I just am living here because of the opportunity and the parties and the social aspect. And I was like, what city would make me feel like I am home and I'm closer to my family? And that's Nashville. So that's why. And I mean, I was about to sign another lease in North Hollywood because the West Hollywood one was temporary. And I was supposed to sign that week, and then COVID happened. And so I was like, okay, either I got to choose like in 2 days. What do I do? So
yeah.
Yep.
Everything happens for a reason. The thing that seems so clear to me when you're talking about that is so much time in my life is like stillness is what leads to growth, right? Like when you're not running to the party, you're not going to work, you're not, shooting for this brand, when it all slows down and you can have that time to not only think about, am I happy to be where I am, but like, do I like the direction of my life, where it's going? Like all these things it is so easy to just keep running and going and staying busy. And it's not until you slow down and you have the time to like self-reflect and ask yourself these questions that you sometimes just kind of push off because you're like, well, I have to go to the shoot. Well, I have to go to this birthday party. When, the pandemic hits, it's like you have nothing but stillness. And I think that's a lot of people had that time to ask the same questions, whether it was the city, whether it was like, do they enjoy the job they're working at? Do they enjoy the significant other now that they're with them?
That's what I was going to say.
Of every day?
That's what I was going to say. I noticed that with several people that I've known, and then everyone, they're like, oh my gosh, they're getting a divorce. They're getting a divorce. I go, good for them, because they finally realize they're actually not happy. Like it's not a terrible thing. You realize, oh man, actually, this isn't making me fulfilled. And they had the courage to leave and to start something new, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope for a lot of people, it's been a lot of positive takeaways from especially those early 6 to 12 months when everything was really tight and shut down. Really excited to have you on the show today because one thing when I think of you, I think of confidence, go-getter, hustler, multifaceted. I mean, you're doing modeling. You're also a fitness trainer. You started a podcast. You just throw yourself out there, which I really admire. Where does this inner drive stem from? Have you always had this? Has there been a moment like a couple years ago, like in those college years, like trying to figure it all out? But where are you getting this? Like, I want to prove to myself and to the world, like I'm Dallas Stevens, you know?
Well, one, I'll give credit to my dad. My dad is the hardest working man I know. We've always grown up middle class, kind of lower class, and he's always hustled like no other and made sure that we're all living our best lives that we can, and he's providing for us. So I grew up seeing him and my mom. My mom was, my AirPod fell out. And my,
oh, there we go.
Put it back. And my mom was also, I mean, they still work their butts off all the time and they're constantly doing different things. So I think that was something, but I really just felt in my soul that I am meant to do something more than the average Joe. And it took me a little bit to kind of figure out what it was and what made me happy. And going through Chicago when I moved there to start modeling, that was the only thing I knew I wanted to do. So then once I started doing that and kind of becoming a little more successful in that, I'm like, well, I kind of want to push to be my own boss. I want to do my own thing and inspire other people and help women. And that led me to doing training, which then led me to wanting to talk about it more and talk about things that I loved and issues that I saw with women that I was talking to about their bodies, about relationships, all of that. And so then my podcast came about, and I think I just love doing, I'm just not built to do the same thing every day, Bobby. I think I just my brain is like, nope, I'm bored. What else can I do? You know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of how I'm built.
Well, it sounds like and I think this has been the case for me, and I think it's a case for a lot of people, is for you, the modeling was maybe this first, like, do I have what it takes? I don't know. Went for it, saw some success, really started to see success. And then it's kind of that light bulb green light moment where you go, if I can do modeling, like I could do fitness training. And then you do the fitness training, and then you're like, well, maybe I can share my voice through a podcast. So I think it's this like switch in your brain when, for me, it was the podcast. Like if maybe I could start a podcast. I started a podcast, then I started doing all these other things. But had I not taken that first initial step to give myself permission to say, screw it, you have an idea, just go for it, I wouldn't have been able to then have the confidence to go after these other things. So I think that's what it comes down to, is you were able, whether it was the support of your own family, obviously you had to be your own biggest hype woman to get yourself to show up in the modeling world. But once you had that proof of concept that like, I can do this shit, then it's just like, yeah, of course. Now you're going to want to do everything else that you've, put your time and energy towards.
And you know what my biggest fear in life is other than sea animals. I'm scared of fish, but biggest fear is looking back on my life and regretting something. It is my biggest fear to be married with kids and sad that I didn't take advantage of this time I now have. And I think that pushes me to be like, I'm going to try it. What could happen,
Yeah, that's a great perspective to have. And that's something that I remind myself of very often, is like, am I going to be able to live knowing the rest of my life that I didn't go for it? Whether it's an idea, shooting the shot with somebody, sending the cold email. It's like, I sleep better at night when my head hits the pillow knowing like I went after everything that I wanted to go after today. And like, if it doesn't go the way I wish it went, then it's like, so be it. I can live knowing that at least I went for it. So I think that's a really good
exactly.
When I was looking at the best part of doing these podcasts, like I told you, a lot of research, a lot of scrolling, a lot of like reading captions and just trying to like fully grasp somebody's story and how they got to where they are today. One of the captions I came across, you had said, looking in the mirror used to be so hard for me. I didn't like my size, my life, or who I was for a while. would pick myself apart and focus on all the things I was not. I have for sure done that in my own past. And I think there's just a lot of self-discovery and confidence building that allowed me to like, now I just look at myself in the mirror and I'm like my biggest hype man. But what did some of that negative self-talk look like back then when you were kind of going through that, and how did you learn to overcome it?
So growing up, I was always a skinny girl in grade school and high school. I mean, people thought I was anorexic because I'm just so, like, my brother and I are both built very thin. And so when I got signed in Chicago, they go, well, we'll sign you, but you have to come back next month and lose 2 inches on your hips and your waist. And for the first time in my entire life at 20 years old, I'm being told to lose weight. And from that, I mean, it was just repetitive for the next 4 years I was with them. The agency just kept telling me, lose weight, lose weight. You have a boy's body, you have a boxy shape to you, your thighs are too big, blah, blah, blah. And this is actually a big part of my life is making awareness for women on eating disorders, because I had one. And it caused me to form my eating disorder of bulimia. And so that led to me being bulimic and have body dysmorphia for the next 4 years. And then it kind of trickled off. It took me a while to beat it. But that was not only physically looking in the mirror, I would pick myself apart, but it was also like I just felt like I was never good enough. I felt like I was constantly trying to please people, and I couldn't love myself. I don't know why. I was just so hard on myself for years. And I finally was fed up with it. I'm like, this is a black hole of a feeling. Like, I'm never, ever going to get out of this. And that's when fitness came into my life. I was so tired of running for hours on end a day and just not eating and then binging. I was just exhausted. So I honestly don't remember what inspired me to just start lifting weights instead. I think I was just exhausted. So I'm like, I'm going to try something else. So what helped me beat it was lifting weights. I started researching, and, it started with very basic, like 5-pound, just dumbbell curls. And then I just started actually seeing a change in not only my physical health, but mental health associated with that. And I was like, oh, there's a correlation. When I work out, I feel confident. When I feel confident, I don't want to binge and purge or overeat or ruin my body. So it slowly helped me to stop doing that. And then all on my own, I didn't tell anyone. And I finally just noticed, I was like, it's been 6 months since I've done that. Oh my gosh, it's been a year. Oh my gosh, I haven't done it in years now, and
wow.
Yeah.
So nobody knew that you were dealing with bulimia.
I think people
with you losing weight, was it very noticeable for like an average person, or it was just so micro that only like these modeling agencies could only tell the difference?
Well, what's odd with bulimia is it actually sometimes doesn't help you lose weight. You kind of gain weight because you're binging. So you're eating 5,000 calories or 3,000, and then all of a sudden you don't eat, and then your metabolism's messed up. And so then you're just doing this. So then your metabolism is just shot, it took
all over the place.
Yeah. And so, I mean, along with that, like your skin, your throat, your teeth, it was just not good. And so that was another thing. I was like, I'm doing this to my body and nothing's even happening. I'm still like overweight. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So this is just pointless at this point. Yeah, but I love food. I hate being hungry. So I wasn't going to be anorexic,
Yeah.
I hated my body. I now eat more than I ever have in my entire life. And I'm fitter than I have ever been because of that, because I've built it back up.
Yeah.
Bodies are amazing, honestly. You just got to give it love and give food and give it movement, and it'll do everything for you.
Yeah, I think I had such a big shift, probably 12 to 18 months ago, where most of my life growing up, it was lifting weights. I'd run very minimally, like 2 to 3 miles, do maybe 20 minutes on like the stairs at the gym, but I wouldn't do a lot of cardio. And then I started following this guy named Nick Bear on YouTube, and huge fitness guy, big marathon runner, Ironman. And I don't know what it was about him, maybe because I just like, he was like the guy that I wanted to become, but he just kept preaching like food is fuel, and the importance of like, you can't go out and run 10 miles and think tomorrow you're going to be able to run again if you don't fuel yourself with the proper foods. And so I think there's this big misconception that like, if you eat carbs, if you eat like certain foods, it's not good for your body. But there's a switch when you start to realize like, in order to get these gains for your body, whether it's, you want a tighter physique or you want to build muscle, like you have to match it. You could spend hours in the gym, and I'm sure you probably feel such a difference from when you run now to when you ran back when you were dealing with bulimia, because you have no energy. Your body's literally just like, I don't even know how you could physically run, because at that point your body just has no calories to burn.
Right.
I think the biggest shift that I had was that food is fuel. Like you need it in order to turn the body into whatever you want it to become.
And we're such a deprived society. I blame that on the 90s and the 2000s, like don't eat carbs, don't eat this, all the body shaming that happened with celebrities, and food became the enemy. And so now it's all about, I'm trying to preach, add in things. If you order a salad, add chicken, add avocado, add nuts. Don't be like, take away this, and then all of a sudden you just have lettuce, just like, like your body needs all of this to just like function, not only function, to weight loss. It's hard to lose weight when you're already in that calorie deficit at a constant state. So for women, especially women listening to this, if you are not already giving your body a certain amount of calories that it needs to function, you can't, let's say it's like 1,800. If you're consistently eating 1,800 and then you cut out down to like 1,700, you'll probably lose a little bit of weight. But if you're already at 800 every day, your body is constantly inflamed. It's constantly stressed. It's cortisol levels are shooting up. It's holding on to that weight. So you can't lose weight if you're just depriving it at all times, right? So that's what I'm trying to teach my girls, women. I mean, I have them count them, and some of them are 700-800 a day and don't see why they're, not losing weight or not getting the body they want or not building muscle. So it's just very important to just give it love and protein.
Yeah. What's the protein. Is there a common question or piece of advice people reach out to you for the most? Because you have a lot of different areas of expertise, and we'll get into some of that other stuff later on. But like, do you find that people are you hitting? Maybe it's more relevant in this moment in time with things that are happening in your life. But is there a common theme, topic, or question that you feel like most women, or even are there males that are specifically asking you about?
Well, I mean, right now everyone's asking me about like relationships, and which clearly I'm not the expert, but when it comes to fitness and all of that, I always get asked about what I'm wearing, like clothing, and which I love. Definitely ask about nutrition, how to lose weight when it comes to eating, how to keep meals interesting is a big thing. I think people struggle with knowing how to eat healthy and eating for weight loss without it just being chicken and rice and broccoli every day, or, they get bored. So I'm always trying to like preach this app Yummly to people. Yummly. It is amazing for people that don't know how to cook, don't know what the calories are. It kind of wraps it all up and makes things exciting. So I always just think like food should be enjoyable. So that's something, just different workouts. I always get, I want to get abs. What are ab workouts I can do? And I'm like, oh, all right. What's your diet?
Yeah, that's where it all begins.
Yeah.
I've been telling people for years, for the last 3 years, my abs have been hibernating, but I think at some point they're gonna come out of hibernation.
One day.
But I know damn well it's the diet. I know that is the toughest part when you're looking. If abs is your number one guiding
Yep.
light, you definitely got to get dialed in on the diet if you want those things to come out.
Absolutely. Or just muscle in general. I mean, toned arms. You want
Yeah.
toned all of this. Lift, great. But if that fat layer is hiding over those muscles, you're not going to see it. So you have to have diet mixed with the strength training, and then you're going to start seeing those muscles. You know,
you're start seeing those gains.
See them gain.
See them gains. You every time that I click in and see you like in the gym, either with your clients or for yourself, or even some of the content that you've posted that you've created of like different workouts, you are glowing and you are excited like to be there, which is like incredible. To me, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, at least in life, like at this moment in time, because you can feel the energy through it. But even then, you're going to have those days where like you're not as excited, or you just like maybe didn't get a good night's sleep, or you were out in Nashville the night before and now you have to, show up. So how do you excite yourself for the day ahead, even when you might feel burnt out, you might feel tired, or you might just want to rest and sleep in, but you're like, I have 3 clients booked this morning and then 2 this afternoon.
Mm-hmm. But what motivates me and keeps me like sane and excited and happy is training and giving an hour to myself a day. And I always remind myself of how I feel when I don't work out, when I don't give myself self-care and self-love. I always remember like, okay, that's how I start feeling mentally. So I made that connection. And then when I am training every day, it can be the worst day ever. I can be going through a breakup. I can be crying. I can be trying to move and like my place is a mess and whatever. But I know at least that I showed up for myself that day and I did something to better my own self. And that is motivation enough to keep doing it.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of like, everyone's different, but like almost finding like those morning routines or tasks that allow you to like build momentum for the day, so that even if the day doesn't pan out that great, or maybe you aren't feeling it as that energetic in the morning, it's like those certain boxes you can check off that then allow you to show up feeling good. Like, I can't do these podcasts if I don't journal, get into morning fitness, eat a good breakfast, like all these things that allow my mind and body to wake up, so that by the time I actually sit down with somebody, it's like I'm firing on all cylinders, versus if I didn't do any of that and I rolled out of bed and I had a cup of coffee and I sat down, it wouldn't be the same. So I think it's that balance of like finding tricks to get your body and your mind heading in the right direction, and knowing that like the days that you don't feel that great, like don't beat yourself up. Everyone's going to go through them, but you still can work through and you can still find a way to pick yourself up.
I love that that's a trending topic right now, is morning routine. It's like everyone's
huge
making reels about it and all that. And it seems so hippy dippy, like, but it's so true. And I absolutely believe in that. And I now I start training girls at 5:30 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. So I don't really, I know, I wake up at 4:45 every day. So some days I don't do that, but I do notice like if some girls cancel and then all of a sudden I'm waking up at 6:30 and I actually do have that 45 minutes to myself in the morning, even that I notice a huge difference. Like I'm up when the sun is up, and the mornings really matter. And now I've kind of accepted it for what it is now. I don't want to do that every day of my life for the rest of my life.
No. We got to carve out some time for the Dallas hours. You need to have some time yourself to get the data.
Right now I'm hustling for all my goals I have for next year. So I'm just biting the bullet and doing 4:30 wake up.
I love it. Yeah. Sometimes you got to go short term and know that like, maybe this isn't sustainable. Maybe this isn't like the way I envision the rest of my life playing out. But if you know in the short term, like I can hustle through it, I can get up early and show up for these clients. They're going to appreciate it. And they're going to be feeling their best self going to the near. You can make those sacrifices, but knowing at the same time that down the line, you probably want to build in some of the some of that time for yourself. And I think the biggest misconception too, when you hear morning routines, and I've been really preaching this heavy as often as I can, is like, it's not about what time do you wake up. To me, it's about what do you spend that first hour or 2 hours of your day doing. Like, if you want to sleep in till 7, like fine. Or like, because everyone's different. Maybe you work nightlife. Maybe just because of the job, you work retail, you don't get out of work till 9 p.m. You don't fall asleep till midnight. Whatever the case is, it's not about what time do you wake up. To me, it's just about how do you spend that first 60 minutes or hour of your day. And I think that can be a big misconception where people try to think like, the earlier I wake up, the more successful I'm going to be. And I'm like, that's not what morning routines are about. It's just about prioritizing yourself, even if it's the first 20 minutes.
It even goes into the first 60 seconds of waking up. It's okay. What's the first thing you're saying?
Now we're really getting dialed in.
Well, you wake up, you go, oh, I don't want to do this.
What's the first 60 seconds? What do you do every morning? First 60 seconds.
I do hit snooze. I'm trying to break the habit.
So when you get through the snooze and now it's the real true 60 seconds.
So the first thing is the mental thought. So instead of waking up and being like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to train clients. I don't want to blah, blah, blah. It's more about, oh my God, I woke up today. Thank you, God.
Yes.
And then I cannot wait to have my coffee. I cannot wait to journal and see what I come up with. I can't wait to plan my day. That before you even get off of your pillow, your mind should already be thinking about positive things that you like get to do today. You get to experience life, and you get to make it however you want it. So that right there is a huge game changer for how you have an outlook on your life and how you're going to treat people that day and treat yourself that day. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I do the same thing, and it has been a game changer because it's forcing me to do that, change the perspective. Don't complain about whatever's on the plate for the day. Like I don't know, like the psychology of, or like how our brain works, but like when you, and it's going to sound like so like woo woo. And like people are like, this dude's saying some hippy dippy Venice bullshit. But like truthfully, when you can train your mind to see things for gratitude, it is literally the life hack. I literally tatted the word on my hand as a daily reminder, because it's like, it has been the biggest hack in the last year of my life, of like my 2 feet hit the floor every morning. And I literally say to myself out loud, be grateful to be alive, be grateful for this day ahead of you, be grateful to have the opportunity to be, to better yourselves. And it's like, okay, like I don't have to be mad I'm about to go run. I don't have to be mad that I have to, work on X, Y, and Z. Like I get to, I don't have to do these things. I could easily, change it up. But that first 60 seconds is crucial for jumpstarting.
Talk about hippy dippy Venice stuff. Or bullshit. My friend and I made vision boards for what we want our life to look like. And it actually was really cool. It got magazines. I got my women's health and shape and all this stuff, and even cut out certain clients that I want to book in the future. And I mean, even little things like that, it sounds so cheesy, but there's a reason that people that are successful have these routines and they have stuff like that, because you see it, you think about it every day, you write it down, it starts actually manifesting, you manifest it, and it starts actually happening. So there's different things, little things that you can do that just make worlds different,
Yeah. Props to you girls for doing the OG way of actually creating the physical version. Cause I did the first true vision board for myself maybe 2-3 months ago, and I have the digital as my background. You can barely see it, but but you guys did it. You girls did it the right way. You guys did arts and crafts and probably made like the physical.
Well, because I'm a millennial and I'm not a Gen Z. Well, you're not a Gen Z.
I'm a millennial too. I'm not a Gen Z either. Damn, that's so good. But you know what the thing is about, because once again, people hear manifestation, they're like, what is it? I'm going to sit there and like think my thoughts and they're just going to come to fruition. That's not what it's about. To me, manifestation is being able to remind yourself daily of what are the things that you want to accomplish, which then allow you in your day to make micro decisions of, are these getting me one step closer to one of these goals? Like whether it's running a marathon, whether it's podcasting with X, Y, and Z guests, it's like, as long as I visually understand where I'm going, I can then make better daily decisions that are only going to help me get there. So there is that misconception where I think people are like, what do you mean like manifestation? Like, how am I going to see my thoughts and then it's just going to come to life? It's not that. It's just, you need to understand where you're trying to go in order to then get there. Otherwise, you're just kind of going at the flow of life, which I'm also totally for when you don't really know what you want to do. But the sooner you can start to figure out the things that you want and the lifestyle you want to live and the people you want to be around, you then are able to really start working towards whatever that true vision, dream life looks like. Then you're able to actually make action towards it.
And as someone that balances a ton of different things, especially when it comes to my fitness training career and my modeling career, I'm always like, I have to kind of do like 50-50. But then sometimes I'm doing 80-20 or 70-30. And I've noticed this several times, and it's so wild. But when I put a little more effort and thought into modeling and maybe just do like one test shoot, all of a sudden it's like, oh, booked. And then when I'm like, oh man, I kind of need more clients, I have this, and I just post a little more on Instagram because I'm wanting more clients. I'm just thinking about it. All of a sudden, new client. And I swear to you, I've seen this happen several times. When I put just a little more energy into that category, things happen. It's wild. Yeah.
You're self-aware enough to go, I want this area to be better. I'm going to put effort towards it. I'm going to tell the world about it. And then people start paying attention. Then all of a sudden you're getting more clients, you're getting booked for more shoots. So I mean,
that energy you're giving off, you're getting it back. And people talk about that all the time, but I've actually firsthand experienced it and seen it. I was like, oh, that's weird. I was just wanting this. And it happened.
That's the motto, baby. Just keep visioning and things are going to come. Quick break from today's episode, and then we'll get right back to it. Today's episode is brought to you by the greatest hydration brand in the world, Liquid I.V. Now, if you're watching visually, I have my 3 favorite flavors: tangerine, we got watermelon, and we got lemon lime. Now, if you're listening, I want you to picture those flavors in your mouth, on your taste buds, and it literally tastes unbelievable. Not only does it taste unbelievable, it is going to make you feel your best self. This podcast is all about all of us reaching our inner potential. And I think one common theme that you guys and gals are hearing through these episodes is you need to take care of your body and your mind. Liquid IV is something that I use daily. And it's not because I work for the company. It's because I truly believe in the product. This can help you with your physical health, your mental health. I literally use this for a magnitude of different reasons. Hungover, pre and post workouts, working from home. Before I get into these podcasts where I'm talking for long periods of time, I'll drink a Liquid IV. It is the greatest product, and I am such a big fan. The new year's here. So many of us have these goals and targets for our lives. It doesn't even have to be physical health. It could be a magnitude of different things. You're going to want to feel your best self as you are working towards these goals every single day, or as we have talked about in this episode, on these podcasts, 1 brick at a time, 1% at a time. So I don't know what those goals look like, but this is the product you're going to want and need in your life. 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you faster and more efficiently than water alone. I mean, it's unbelievable. Contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. With 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's going to fill you up. It's made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, free of gluten, dairy, and soy. And I mean, literally, it's just such a great product. What I love about Liquid IV too, it's on a mission to change the world. As of right now, the company has donated over 19 million servings across the globe to all different types of all different people that need the product. So if it's of interest, I would head over to liquidiv.com. Use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word. It will get you 25% off every single order, and you will love it. I'm telling you right now. Head over to liquidiv.com. Check out the different flavors. Use my promo code TheBeardedMan, all one word, for 25% off every order. I recommend watermelon, tangerine, and lemon lime. There's also strawberry, pina colada, a magnitude of different flavors. So don't let my opinion judge you, but I think you're going to want it. So check it out. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get back let's get back to today's episode. A hot topic that's very relevant right now is New Year's coming, right? To me, I'm just like, if you want New Year's resolutions, start today. Don't wait for the new year. Like, don't wait for this day change to be overwhelmed and start working towards all these new habits. But this is a time where people are clearly thinking about new goals, new habits that they want to incorporate. For you, what have you seen as the first best step to incorporating any new habit?
Ooh, writing it down. Swear to write down anything and everything and then break it down. So it's not even just, I want a relationship next year. It's, I want a relationship with someone that treats me like this, that someone has this quality, that, and then even narrow it down even more. Okay. In February, or no, next year in spring, I want to like live in Hawaii for a month or two. So it's like, have the goals that it doesn't have to be, I'm going to be a millionaire by next year. Like, break it down, like small little things, you know? So I think that's good. And just being patient with yourself. Timelines are good, but timelines can also be detrimental depending on who you are, you know?
Yeah. There's a Ryan Holiday quote I came across a couple weeks ago that really put everything in perspective. And it was, you can control the effort, but you can't control the results to a certain extent. I believe you. I understand there's an argument of like, well, if you're not showing up, you're not going to get the results. I get that. But the one thing that you can control on a daily basis is the effort that you put into something. So I think that allows you to almost detach from like a lot of things that are so completely out of your control. Like, I want to be a millionaire by next year. It's like, okay, if you put the effort in, that's great. But you don't, to a certain extent, you can't like fully control if that happens or not. You can control if I want to live in Hawaii for a month next year. Yeah, you're just going to have to maneuver and make certain decisions that allow you to do that. But I think it's just about focusing on, like you had said, like timelines, and then also just recognizing like it's not going to just happen overnight.
Right.
What can you, what are the things that you can do today that are going to put you a little bit closer to it for tomorrow, and just that micro step mindset that I think just, it makes everything so much more easier to focus on when you're not thinking about this grand picture of like, I want to lose 100 pounds. And it's like slow down. Let's start at 5 pounds, then to 10, and then 15.
Exactly.
And then it builds from there.
And looking at your daily life. So again, back to like morning routine. So not only focusing on that goal, but what are you doing every day that you can maybe improve on, or you can add in, or things that you can take out? Like maybe you're going out to the bars a little bit too much. Maybe go out once a week instead of 4, I mean, like,
yeah, let's slow it down a little bit. I'm all for the good times, but let's slow down the bars just a little bit.
And I know people like that in Nashville. It's a very party hardy city.
I believe it. I've never even been, and I can feel the energy in Nashville. I'm just like, this place can be trouble if you're not, holding yourself like somewhat accountable to your actions.
Oh man, it's so different than LA. It's wild. But yeah, you gotta tone it down a little bit with all the bars here.
Jeez. Speaking like the modeling stuff that you've done, I know, like we talked about earlier, that's like been the root of, I think, just giving you permission to do all these things that you've done. Once again, you've worked with Dick's Sporting Goods, Adidas, New Balance, Hurley Women, and I'm sure a list of other brands that I'm missing. But what's been one of the biggest takeaways or lessons that you've learned working in the modeling world? I know we had touched on some of like the dieting and the food stuff because of needing to get smaller, but are there any other big like lessons or takeaways you've had from working in the space?
A few. So back to, this is a huge lesson I learned when it relates to the diet. But instead of, like, my agent kept trying to have me be this thing, this size 0, size 2 that I no longer was trying to change the shape of my body, trying to tell me to lose muscle, my thighs are too big. And instead of me just being like, why don't you submit me for fitness stuff? It was like, okay, let me try to change who I am and my body and hate everything about me and like have me fit into this box. Instead of me looking at the bigger picture and be like, oh, well, maybe I actually am more suited for fitness, or maybe I shouldn't be a size 0 because my body naturally isn't going to be that small ever again. And so I think when it comes to people that aren't models, this applies as well. Maybe you're at a job and you hate it and your boss is telling you do this and this, and okay, well, maybe that job's not right for you. Maybe put yourself into a box where that's something that's a little more fitting. Or a group of friends, you aren't happy or you're not fitting in with your friends anymore. Find friends that you do fit in with. So don't keep trying so hard to get in that certain group or relationship. If it's not working, it's not working. But there's a million other things that could work. There's always something out there for everyone. So yeah, very grateful for that. Another thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's amazing. The one thing I preach on this podcast so heavily is the importance of being authentically yourself. And that's exactly what you're saying is like, maybe you're not fitting in the box and mold of what your agents or what these, some of these brands that you're potentially getting pitched to want and their models. But when you can just stay true to who you are and you kind of look at it from that of like, who am I? What do I represent? And then kind of like, oh, maybe I should be doing like more of the sports modeling, or these are the types of people I should be surrounding myself with. I think it's a really powerful reinforcement of like the importance of just being who you truly are and leaning into it and not trying to be somebody that you're truly not, and just knowing that it's not going to be mentally or physically good for yourself.
And if you're faking it, faking your life, faking who you are never going to be happy. Faking a relationship. I mean, it's like, it comes with maturity as well, because I think between 18 and 24, no one knows what they want to do. Everyone's just trying to grab something and try it out, and that's totally fine and amazing. And then as you get older, I'm 27 now, I realize what I'm worth, and I realize who I am more and what actually makes me happy, and I'm done pretending now, and I'm done trying to please other people. And because I've been a people pleaser my whole life, and I've realized like, I just want to do what makes me feel genuine, or else what's living for, Yeah.
Yeah. It's, you gotta go through. I think I similarly went through those early 20s where it's just like, you're just fucking trying to figure it out. You're throwing a bunch of ideas at the wall. You're trying to navigate it all. But I think I'm 27. I'll be 28 this Saturday at the time of this recording.
Happy early birthday. We're close. I'm December 20th.
Let's go. That's right. Sad's life, baby. We're out here.
I knew I liked you.
I will say. Sad's ride together, stay together. We're out here.
But yeah, you went through the same thing, right? You left your job and
I was I had to figure it out for myself. I was an Uber driver, building a podcast. Then I got left driving Uber to then work at Liquid I.V. I'm still with Liquid I.V. today. I left the old podcast, started a new one. So it's been kind of like just trying to figure it out as you go. But I will say that we are both very fortunate being both 27 at this moment in time and like having very clear direction of like what our true north is, because I have personally seen people that I went to college with and even high school, same age, where they spent most of their early 20s and then all of their 20s, I should say, partying, having a good time. It's all balanced, don't get me wrong, but like not ever really spending the time to do that deep work, to have the stillness, to ask themselves the tough questions of like, what do I value? Who do I want to become? What are the characteristics of a significant other that would actually be good for me versus just straight physical attraction and like, yeah, that's everything I could ask for. So I think what's very clear to me is that we both are very fortunate because there's always going to be more room to grow. There's always going to be other areas of our life that we're working on, but we've taken the time to spend those 20s like trying to figure it all out. And now still there's going to be some changes along the way, but the couple years ago when it's like this big open area of not knowing where we're going, it's gotten a lot more defined and we have an understanding of what we're trying to do and who we're trying to become, which just makes all the difference in the long run.
Absolutely. Another thing, what was it? Oh yeah. So another thing from modeling, I have to say this now or else I'll forget it, was to not compare yourself to others, which obviously is huge in that you're standing next to all the girls that want the same job you do. You're looking at how small they are or how pretty they are or whatever. And that was another thing that made it dreadful to do what I love, was constantly comparing myself to these people when it's really, I'm just my own competition. And finally figured that out, and it also applies to any other person that's not more than just, a model. It can be anything. And just focusing on myself and my work and my book and my clients and how I act at a job. And that's all I can focus on. I can't focus on what they're doing. I have no control over what jobs they book. I have no control over anything. So other than me. And so I think that was another big thing that people can relate to.
So good. Comparison is the thief of joy. Mm-hmm. And seeing other people succeed honestly just inspires me, because I'm just like, I'm seeing in real time what is possible, and it can be for different buckets in my life. There's a lot of different things. And so instead of getting all caught up in like wishing that it was my life or whatever the comparison is, it's more of like just change the perspective, like look at what is possible. And a lot of times we don't see what somebody's had to go through to get to where they are today. Mm-hmm. And I think if most people understood that, they might reconsider, do they want to actually be in their shoes? Mm-hmm. Like I've seen people sell $100 million companies that I know, and it's like there's a lot of deep work that happens behind the scenes after that. Just because they got money doesn't mean they're all of a sudden just happy for the rest of life. They now have to figure out a new identity. Who are they? So it's all that to say, it's like we so often think that if only we had the life. I always talk about there's no such thing as destination happiness. So whatever you're thinking, as if you're listening, whatever you think is like the moment that your life is going to be just bliss and sunshine and rainbows for the rest of your life, it's not going to be that, because you're going to get there and then you're going to be like, all right, now I got to get to the next mountaintop and then to the next mountaintop. So all that to say, I think comparison is a really important one. And once you can learn to not let it steer the direction of your life, you're going to be so focused on doing what you can control, which is becoming your best version of yourself and doing the things that you truly want to do.
And just enjoying the whole ride. But that's why I've been very, I'm kind of over the whole, like, my life is perfect on Instagram thing. And I've been very, especially recently, very open about things I'm going through. Been open about my eating disorder, been open about different struggles. And I love it. I feel like I'm actually enjoying this and getting all these strangers and friends messaging me like, oh my gosh, I went through that too. I didn't know anyone else went through that. And like being open completely about challenges, because it happens to everyone and people don't see that. And they could look at my Instagram and be like, oh, she models, she has the best life. Like, I've heard that, like, you have the perfect life. I'm like, no. And so that's why I'm trying to just be recently just more open on downfall, as much as like, I booked a job here. Yeah, nice. Exactly. I think it
don't you feel like you have less weight on you?
Absolutely. It's kind of like my own therapy. And I've gotten some backlash from people just saying I'm just doing it for views or for likes or whatever. But most of the feedback I've gotten back is a lot of women coming forward about things they've gone through. And we have true conversations with these women, or I have true conversations with these women. And it's just amazing. It's very freeing. And I think that's what social media should be used for, more than just that highlight reel, So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so important. Some of this. So I do 2 podcasts a week. One every Monday comes out with a guest. Every Thursday is a solo podcast. In the episodes that I have been most nervous to push to the world, because I'm just like being the most vulnerable like version of myself, have gotten the most amount of like inbound of people like saying like, this resonated with me for X, Y, and Z reason. And it's been so refreshing, because it's like such a win. Like, I'm actually taking off all this weight on my shoulders that has been built up in my mind, and I'm just letting it out. And in return, I'm having people have the most impact from this episode, which is ultimately the entire point of running the show, is like to truthfully impact people's lives. And so it's been such a light bulb moment of like, wow, by being vulnerable, I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. I'm not putting out this facade of an Instagram that's like only highlight reels. And then in return, the people that are supporting and listening, like actually resonate with me. And I think it's just so refreshing. And to go off that, I know the big topic obviously is you went through a breakup, and there's been a lot. I love that you're already smirking and smiling, because I know you have gone through so much deep work. I really appreciated your onward and upward episode. It was really, it was beautiful in the sense of like, you literally within the first like couple minutes of the podcast, you immediately just say like, I forgive you to the ex. And I was like, okay, hold on. That in of itself just shows so much perspective and so much like inner work that you've had to go through to just say that for the actions of this person. So talk to me about what did that journey look like? Because it had to have been a roller coaster. And I know you're coming out of like, you're fucking feeling great. You're looking great. You're showing the world, you're telling the world, but what did that deep work look like? Was it a lot of just downtime by yourself? Like, talk to me about some of that.
A lot of crying, which is fine. I should feel it.
Yeah. Men, you can cry too. I have had plenty of those moments. So like, let's not like try to be Mr. Macho, because I know there's like 65% male audience that listen to this podcast. So fellas, let it happen. Let it fly if you need to.
Ugly cry. It's fine.
Yes.
Well, when him and I ended, I actually lived with him, so I had to move out by myself. That was tough. And then, but I knew in my gut it was just the right decision. And I've been considering it for like weeks and a couple of months. I was like, this is just not right. Like something is wrong. This is not like a relationship that I feel like is healthy anymore. So I finally pulled the trigger, moved out, was homeless for like a month on my friend or like at my friend's place. Luckily she lived with her boyfriend, so I technically got a 1-bedroom by myself, and paid her for it. But I actually booked Hawaii the next week. So I was in Hawaii for a week. So that was kind of nice. That was like God being like, here you go. hopefully this helps with the timing of that. But did a lot of journaling in Hawaii, surfing, being in nature, just being with myself and being around people that were very inspiring, and just doing what I loved helped a lot. And then when I got back, it was just taking the reins of my life. And I mentioned this on my podcast, but I set a date for myself of the grieving process, the angry process. And I was like, I don't want to keep feeling like this day after day. I want to be able to take my life back and be like, okay, like I'm giving myself this much time to cry, to feel bad, to listen to sad songs, and it's necessary. But 2 months from now, if I'm still doing that, that means I'm just kind of pitying myself and I'm not actively trying to bring myself up. So gave myself a little timeline. But 4 weeks after we broke up, I actually found out he was cheating. So exactly 4 weeks later, and it made sense. So then I was like, oh, well, that's why the relationship wasn't healthy. That's why, and my gut was right. So again, I had to go through the motions of feeling angry. I was very angry the next day. I was punching a punching bag, like, and again, normal, great to take it out on that. Next day after that, I was a mess. I had to cancel all my clients. I was bawling. And then after that, I did some closure stuff. I'm like, okay, and now I'm got to restart again. Got to like build myself back up again, like make sense of it. I got a lot of answers to some questions I had, and I got through it, and I'm at peace. And then I forgave him because I know I had to work on that in order to move on with my life. Because I'm still over here like, Bobby, F him, he sucks, he did this and this and this. Like, that is not good either. So,
yeah. This person shouldn't be in your mind, in your brain, in your thoughts, because it's like that, then they've won, but you can't allow that to happen.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's something that, again, I can control how I deal with this. I can control how I help other people with this. I can control my my outlook on future relationships. I can't control his brain and how he's treating women. So I'm not going to be hung up on it. And then recently, I just found out from my ex from 2017, 2018, that he was actually cheating on me for a while. And I met up with his other ex-girlfriends because he was cheating on all of us, like with each other. And so now I'm in this process again of, okay, I just found this out 2 days ago and the cheating thing yesterday. And so it's like, of course, emotions are going to come up and it feels like getting punched in the stomach again, you know, like I was over it. And so now I'm going through the motions again with this guy of knowing my worth. I didn't do it. That's his problem. It's not mine. I'm being very open about it on Instagram because people have a right to see the correlation and to talk about this topic because obviously it's happening a lot. And so now, you know, like today I'm like, okay, I'm not really going to talk about it anymore. Tomorrow I'm definitely not going to be giving him like my time of day. And then, and I'm going to be great. So.
Wow. I'm telling you right now, you could have any man in this world. And if these guys want to make like the decisions and do that type of shit, that's on them. But like, I can't imagine the inner work it's taking to now, even when you're finding out this about somebody else. And now you're just like, here we fucking go again, like reset the clock. We got to do this bullshit again. But like give yourself to the end of the day. And then tomorrow you got to just fucking let that slide. Cause it is just not worth the time. And it's, I've never, I won't go into like a whole spiel about it, but it's like, to me, I've never understood it where it's like, if you want to be single and you want to date around, fine. If you want to fully commit to somebody, then do it. But I've never been in that position. I don't understand it.
Yeah. What's been interesting is learning about it. Cause I've never really known cheaters. Like I've never cheated and learning the psychology behind it has been very interesting. There's a lot that kind of goes into it. But it comes down to wanting to be single and not wanting, to settle down, but they'll tell you they want to because they don't want to lose you. But then they'll line up other people before they end it with you because they want to feel, I don't know. It's just like a whole thing, but that's a whole other episode.
This is where it even gets more interesting. Just the psychology thing, right? And this doesn't have to be dating. This can just be the way people interact with you on a day-to-day, or somebody that like comments on your Instagram, some nasty thing. I have a lot of empathy for people in the sense of when I hear about somebody cheating on somebody or, somebody leaving a hateful comment, I see this person and I go, they are a product of their environment. There has been something throughout their lives, and I'm not justifying and I'm not defending them, but it actually allows me to have more peace when I go, they are a product of something in their life that formed them, then molded them into who they are today. And I wish them nothing but love because I hope that somehow, some way they figure it out, they make that change or whatever it is. So when I hear something like that, to me, it's just, I wish them nothing but the best. And it's, once again, not defending them, but I think it goes even deeper. It goes into the psychological of, well, why? What are they searching for? Why do they feel this need for validation? Are they not confident in themselves enough? So it gets very interesting when you start digging into the psychology. And I think you did quite a bit on the Upward and Onward episode, and maybe I'm misremembering it, but it's very interesting when you look at it in that perspective. And it's, I hope it allows to just flow forward and leave it behind, because it's like nothing that you did wrong or nothing you could have controlled at the end of the day.
And relating to that of like the people that have negative things to say and are just being so spiteful that don't even know you, I think it comes from, and I just had this comment to me today saying that I'm not a victim. Victims are only people that have violence done to them. And I'm like, well, that's really sad that you would think that someone that's emotionally abused for years, with all these other women that have been emotionally abused and cheated on for years. I'm not trying to be victimized, but yes, you can be you can be a victim of all of this mental and emotional abuse. It is a thing. You can even sue someone for emotional abuse. Like, and it makes me think that that person has never overcome a challenge in their life, and they've either had it super easy, or they just, like, don't have any empathy for people that do go through stuff like this. And I have gained confidence and grown because of all the stuff I've gone through. And I think you need to do that in order to understand people's perspectives, hear people out, understand both sides, instead of it being like, this is right, this is wrong. And so I think those people just haven't really been through anything, which I'm actually grateful I've been through some stuff, because now I have so much knowledge and experience, and I know what I deserve and who I am more than I've ever done or ever have before. Yeah. And I was talking with one of the girls of my exit, Whitney, whatever. She was girl number like 4, and girlfriend number 4. And she was telling me yesterday that she's trying to work on her confidence. And she's like, "You're so confident. How are you confident?" And I'm like, it did not just come overnight. I am confident because I've overcome so much stuff, and I've been through like this. I've just been down and up and down and up. And I built confidence because I've learned, and I see what I don't deserve now, and I can put my foot down. So confidence and negative life experience completely go hand in hand, I think, to wrap it all up.
Yeah. Ooh, it's good. It's good. Yeah. I 2 things I'll say is, one, people that think that there is no such thing as mental victim. I mean, to me, a victim is, there's a cause and somebody's the effect, or somebody has an effect, and that could be physical, mental, spiritual. I mean, it could be a magnitude of different things. So I don't think it has to be violence. And then the beauty, that is the beauty right there, is when you go through these low and really tough moments. In the moment, it feels like the world's ending. You feel horrible. You feel like it's just, I've been through my own low moments, and it is not a fun place to be. But then what happens is it builds you up so much. I don't know if it's like your hurt rate, your hurt peakness, or I don't know what it is, but you have been through so much that it allows you to just overcome things so much more not easily, but you've just been through enough where it's really, you've built boundary walls higher and higher, so that it's going to be very hard for somebody to get to you physically or mentally or spiritually, because there's going to be so many things that are going to need to be checked off before it even gets to that point. So I think that is the beauty in it. When you're going through it, it's not fucking fun, and I wish it upon nobody to go through anything we've just talked about. But knowing that it's only going to better equip you moving forward, and it's going to allow you to just step into another sphere of yourself, and you'll look back on it years from now and have this experience, and it'll only help you, make better decisions in real time of like who you're letting in and who shouldn't be part of your life.
And just becoming a better person in general. Like, I would never do that to someone.
Fellas, get it together,
come on,
fellas.
Guys, pull through. Where are the good ones?
I like to say I'm the diamond of the rough, but we'll have to have a vote after this. Don't make me blush. Don't make me blush. All right, we're gonna get to the final 5, and then we'll wrap this up. Final 5 of these questions, only 1 sentence.
Oh boy.
Answer.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, okay. 1 sentence answer. Take your time thinking about it. Question number 1: how can people learn to give themselves permission to follow their interests and their ideas?
Can you say it again one more time?
Yep. I'll repeat it as many times as you need. How can people learn to give themselves permission to follow their interests and their ideas?
Go for true happiness and not for social norm. Second.
That's good. Question number 2. That's great. That's great.
Are these the same questions you always ask at the end? Okay. I'm curious what other people say. Sorry.
Yeah. Sometimes I switch them up, but for the most part, these are very much the same 5. So if you want to check out anyone else's, they're always at the end. Question number 2: if you could go back and tell yourself one piece of advice at any point of your life, what would it be and when?
Listen to your gut when you know things are not right in your 20s.
That's great. That's great. Question number 3. What's an area of your life you need to put more effort into?
Relaxing.
Oof. Yeah. Holidays are coming. Make sure you take some time to enjoy while you can. This is the good part of the year where it allows you to give yourself the permission. So make sure you do relax a little bit. Question number 4. What is the first step that anyone can take to reaching their inner potential?
This is so hard with one sentence. Okay.
Take your time. First step that anyone can take to reaching their inner potential.
Visualize what you want and when you want it.
It's great. It's great. Last question for you. If somebody's made it through the last 65 minutes of this podcast, what is one challenge you have for the listeners today as they wrap up listening to this podcast?
I challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone and do something new, either with a relationship, dating, a job, a hobby, something new that you can try and something that's uncomfortable.
Love that. I'm a big believer of that. Seek that discomfort, do the thing that scares you the most, but is also the thing that you really want to do deep down inside. That's fantastic. Dallas, this has been an incredible conversation.
I could keep going.
Really, there will be a part 2 at some point, so I'm not worried about that. I admire you and respect you so much for, first off, your ability to just chase after the life that you want to live, from the modeling to the fitness to now. We didn't get to go too much into the podcast space, but I'm going to be rooting for you. But I admire your ability to just show up and to do these things you want to do. Secondly, your vulnerability, whether it's through the conversation today or through the things you're sharing, obviously in the last couple of weeks and months through social media, takes courage to do it. And there are going to be a lot of people that benefit from it, as I'm sure you're already getting DMs and all that. And 2, just thirdly, I should say, your energy. To me, it's always about connecting with people that are doing the thing they want to do. And I feel like that energy is so contagious, and it doesn't have to be something similar that you're trying to do, but just being around people that are passionate and like have a purpose, have a true north, like wake up every day, have a similar 60-second spiel that I similarly have, of like telling themselves we're going to fucking crush it and we're going to create these dreams. But this was just such a fantastic conversation. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be part of it today.
I miss you. Come to Nashville.
Come back to LA. Come to LA this Saturday. We got a birthday happening.
I'm actually going to be there in February for a week for a job. So yeah.
Really? We're gonna connect. Make sure you stay on the west side. You gotta stay Venice, Santa Monica, Marina. This is where the action's happening.
Deal. The hippy dippy bullshit.
We will get you into some fun things. I got a good lay of the land now. I haven't been out here since the top of January, but we'll make sure you have some fun.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you for having me.
It's great. It's great. Absolute pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's podcast, I have a favor to ask. Please screenshot this episode on whatever platform you're listening on, whether it's iTunes, whether it is Spotify, whether it is YouTube. Screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag Dallas. She's at Dallas Stevens. That's DallasStepheens. Tag her, tag me at Bobbbaaaay. That's BO, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. Share the podcast in your IG story. Let us know, what was the takeaway? How did this specific episode change your perspective? Was there a gem? Was there something specific that you are taking away from this episode? I would be very, very curious to learn. Also, in the link description of this episode, I will have Strive with Dallas podcast. Go give her podcast a listen. We're going to get her ratings up. We're going to get her views up. So please go give her a listen today, as I'm sure she's going to be pumping out some content in the coming weeks and coming months. Is there anywhere else I should be sending people to after they finish this episode?
That's about it. I have a Strive with Dallas TikTok, but I need to do it. I need to be on there a little more often. Building it up.
I'll have that linked up below
Okay.
too for people. I'll have that linked up too because everyone's getting on TikTok now, so maybe you'll get some new
I need
followers
to
from the
do
podcast.
it more. I just don't have time.
One thing at a time, all right?
Yeah.
One thing at a time. Dallas, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bearded Man Podcast. See ya.